Welcome back, everyone. I'm John Furrier, host of theCUBE, here with Gemma Allen, my co-host. We're live in San Francisco, California for Dreamforce 2025. This is where all the action's happening. As agents emerge on the scene and the AI infrastructure gets more powerful, you're going to see software paradigms change our lives, change how we work, change how we behave and talk to others, and of course, user productivity. Sebastian's here, founder and CEO of Rilla, an innovative company out of New York. I'm psyched to hear about. We had a great conversation before we came on camera. Sebastian, thank you for coming on.
Thank you for having me, John, Gemma. Great to be with other New York folk here in San Francisco.
So, explain what you guys do first before we get into it, because you guys have a very unique company. Your angle of attack on the market's awesome. Explain what you do.
Yeah, so we are the first ever leading AI coaching software for in-person sales and service. So in-person sales and service, think of people in plumbing, HVAC technicians, electricians, people who sell window, siding, flooring, doors, people who sell new homes to buyers, real estate agents, medical devices, pharmaceuticals. There's about 12 million outside sales and service people in America. They talk to customers in person, face to face, in their homes, their offices, their businesses, stores, and they use our app on the mobile phone, tablets, Apple Watches, and they record their conversations face-to-face like you and I are having right here. And we use AI to automatically transcribe, analyze, and give them feedback to help them improve their sales and help their managers do what we call virtual ride-alongs that are 100 times faster, better, more productive than physical ride-alongs.
So you target the road warriors, as we used to call them back in the day.
Yes, yes.
And so they're out and they're pounding the pavement.
That is correct. And the only way that their managers can actually see what's happening in the field is by going out and pounding the pavement with them. And what we like to say at Rilla is that when it comes to outside sales, I mean, in Silicon Valley, this sounds like, disruptive, but most people who work in sales, they still work in person. It's the majority of salespeople outside. And so what we like to say at Rilla is that if you think of sales as a sport, imagine we have a coach that's coaching their players in the locker room and they're not able to be on the field when the game is going on to see what's happening or review the game film. Yeah. So we're bringing a layer of visibility to outside sales and service that was never there before.
It's like the quarterback who's got the coach in his ear, yes. He's got the green dot on his helmet.
Literally, exactly right.
That's what you're doing.
And in fact, the product now works live. We just launched Rilla Live where you can get feedback in the moment and you're literally like a quarterback in the sidelines giving feedback.
That's awesome.
Well, Jensen said this week that the billionaires of tomorrow are going to be electricians and plumbers. Did you see that?
No.
That is correct.
He did, right? So
yes.
you're targeting the right audience.
There was a Wall Street Journal article that came out saying that the new path for the American dream is like these millionaire plumbers and HVAC technicians, electricians. There's a whole new set of private equity that's coming into the space. Yeah. San Francisco has Alpine Investors, who's one of the largest private equity platforms. They're a Rilla customer. There's Neighborly, who's one of our customers. We just announced a partnership, the largest home service franchise in the world. Yeah. They have 30,000 technicians around the world, and they are super devoted to customer excellence. And so people are sleeping on this big part of the economy. When you talk about Jensen, you talk about Sam Altman, Peter Thiel, the real impact of AI is going to come when AI gets out of the computer where most tech people live and it goes into the real world where most of the people are still working, and that's when it's going to have real impact.
You look at all the projections from all the top companies building, you're right. Physical AI, they call it, where the real world meets digital.
Yes.
That's the intersection, holy grail moment.
So, exactly. So if I go back to my journey as starting as a founder, one of the first books I read was 0 to 1 by Peter Thiel, and in that book he has an amazing quote, which is that the biggest innovations in the 21st century are going to come from people innovating in the world of atoms, not in the world of bits. And Elon's been doing that with SpaceX and Tesla and people working on driverless cars and all these things. What we believe is that the transition is specifically with commerce and sales, there's going to be a faster transition of bringing technology to offline than online replacing offline. So it's the idea between the AR versus the VR.
Just to riff on that a little bit, if you look at digital twins technology, that is booming. They're using synthetic data now, Gemma. We talk about it on theCUBE all the time. You got real data.
Yes.
In person, data.
That's one of the founding vision of Rilla is that we figured out essentially that if you look at Amazon and eBay and everything that happens e-commerce, that's only 15% of commerce in America. 85% of commerce in America happens offline, people talking to each other in a store, in a showroom, in their home, in a business setting, and that's 85% of commerce. But then you look at the amount of data that e-commerce companies can get on their customers to understand what they want, you go to Amazon knows everything about you, Google knows everything about you before you even think it, but then you look at the rest of the economy, they're so far removed from their customers because it's so hard to get data, that our founding vision was, what if we capture these real life conversations and we can index offline commerce just like Google once did for the web. And that's what we're trying to do. That's a great
I think what's really special though about those smaller businesses, these kind of local relationships, is that they often are quite parochial, right? They're very genuine, they're authentic. Yes. How do you keep the authenticity with a product like this?
You live in New York City, have you ever gone to a stand-up comedy show?
Lots.
So the comedians, they sound super authentic, super genuine, they have connections with people in the crowd, and it sounds almost like natural, like they're improvising. Like when you watch a comedian,
they practice.
It's like, but they practice over and over and over and over again. And it's like kind of like an athlete. You watch Michael Jordan, you watch Kobe Bryant, you watch the moves that they're doing. It looks super natural, but that only comes after a certain amount of repetition and repetition and repetition. People, if you go to like Starbucks, the CEO of Starbucks is investing heavily in training and coaching their people to provide excellent customer service. So you can keep both is what I'm saying. You can keep the personality as well as the excellence in customer service.
You know what you're hitting on we've been saying on theCUBE, but you kind of put it in language, is that craft is coming back.
Yes.
Craftsmanship and agents with the human curation, however they're built, the domain expertise, these are words that are orbiting around the AI trend. Craft, curation, creativity, product, that's a human thing.
Oh,
so craftsmanship is like building, whether you're crafting software or
doing a sales pitch or communicating with a customer.
Being a comedian, that's a craft.
Or an actor. An actor sounds like so good in a movie because they've practiced their script, and so what we're trying to bring to, you call them small businesses, we're trying to bring the type of excellence in customer service and customer interactions that people who work online have always had for decades. That's what we're trying to do.
Tell us about the true up, like the selling side of this, right? Like recommending, well, here are some other services or opportunities you can position,
yes.
or tell us about how that works from a kind of broad technical scale perspective within the product.
So like how we actually give recommendations to sellers on how they can actually sell better.
Yeah, how much do you need to know about their businesses, I guess, right? And their particular kind of sales set.
So every business that we work with is absolutely obsessed about, like if you look at the industries that Rilla works in, we work with the top 20% of companies who absolutely care about their customer service and how they interact with customers. And it's usually the top 20% of companies. Every single one of the companies that works with us, and we're talking about people like Renewal by Andersen, Pella Windows, we're talking about LG, Kohler, Neighborly, Home Depot. Like these are all customers of Rilla. They all have a sales process or a system that they're supposed to follow when they interact with customers. You're supposed to say hello and set an agenda. You're supposed to set up next steps if you're going to meet with the customer later. And so what Rilla does, number one, is a customer inputs their system that they've had for years, and they input it into Rilla, and then Rilla is able to analyze every single conversation against that system that they've had for years, but they had no idea if people were actually following it on the field. That's number one. Number two, the AI starts learning about what is it that the top 1% of top performers are doing differently beyond the system that they had at the company, so that it can start recommending to other people what to do better. To give you an idea, I just gave a talk today at Dreamforce about how we found out that the top performers, they talk 45 to 65% of the time versus the customer. They ask 5 times more open-ended questions per hour, 25 open-ended questions versus 5 open-ended questions. Like, how does the price affect the way you think about this product? What makes you think that the price is too high? Like, these are open-ended questions. We found out that there's like an ideal talk speed for a seller. We looked at, and because, by the way, we have the largest data set of in-person sales conversations ever assembled. We have millions of these conversations, and so we're able to do all these interesting analyses on how to talk and what to say. One of the things that we found out recently is that the top performing salespeople, they talk at about 184 words per minute. So it's a little bit faster than the average human talk speed of about 158 words per minute. And so imagine somebody who talks at 1.2x speed, like if you're listening to a podcast. These are all things that the AI can learn beyond what the human mind can see, and then it starts recommending it to people. Be like, hey, you're talking a little bit too slow. You're talking too fast. I talk like 225 words per minute, so I'm always getting feedback from her.
You're a great CUBE guest, by the way.
Yeah.
Wow, so it's really a performance tool. Like it's a little bit, it's performance and sales, right? Like it's a mix of both.
So yes, one of the first ideas for Rilla, I used to do stand-up comedy in New York City. I went to NYU, I used to do stand-up comedy. My first idea was every single comedian, they record their sets. And you record your set so that you can see what you could have done better. And the first idea was like, well, what if I recorded my set and had some analytics on it that would give me feedback faster so I could understand what I could do better?
Tell me, I got to ask you, what about the ethical concerns around this, like governance, data privacy, all of that stuff? How is that managed within the stack?
So the way that we think about it is in 3 verticals. Number 1 is legal, right? That's the easiest one because you just have to comply with the laws everywhere you go. And then we think about it from the employee side, from the seller's side or the service person side, and then the customer side, that's the 3rd one. The legal, it depends on where you are in the world, but we comply with GDPR in Europe. We have some European customers in the UK and Ireland. And,
I'd love to hear those Irish conversations.
Oh yeah, it picks it up really well.
There's drinking involved,
Yeah,
Guinness.
so much of it, yeah.
More sales are closed with Guinness than anything else.
So you look at the legality, you just have to make sure you're complying with the privacy laws. There's a bunch of different ways that we do that for our customers. We work with large enterprises, so you can redact any PII from the conversation. If you say your name, your email, your phone number, your political affiliation, religion, you can redact all of that. You can make the customer sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks, like make them sound like a different voice so that you're not capturing their voice, so that it's anonymized. You can do all sorts of things there, and then there's all sorts of ways that you can let the customer know in advance that you're going to be recording the meeting. You put automated emails and reminders saying, hey, just so you know, I'm on my way to our appointment, I'm going to be recording our meeting for quality and training purposes. From the employee side, what we saw is that employees really become addicted to our tool. At Rilla, we like to say that we build consumer games for businesses, and so we build products that are so addictive to salespeople, it becomes kind of like the comparison that we use is that there's this app, Huddle, that sports athletes use when they're in high school, college, to review their game film. It's kind of like Huddle for them, to be like, oh, I want to watch what I did, what could I have done better?
Or highlight reel.
Literally, there's a highlight reel feature in Rilla that you could just swipe around like TikTok, and it shows you your highlights, and those are the teammates, and so it becomes quite addictive. And for the customer side, it depends on the industry, but for instance, we have a lot of customers that sell in people's homes. Like they literally, a plumber will go to your house and they'll, I mean, we live in New York City, so we don't have that, but we live in apartments, but if you live in a home, they'll go into somebody's home and they'll be recording. One of the things we found out is, when you're in a home interaction or a private setting and somebody's recording the conversation, if there's a strange person like a seller or a service person, you're actually more comfortable with the fact that they're recording the conversation in your home or your private setting, because you're like, oh, this is not just some person that's coming into my house, this is a company that's recording everything, they want to make sure that everything goes well, and it serves as protection for both the customer and the seller to make sure that, it's kind of like a similar effect to the body cams with police officers, where everybody feels a little bit more comfortable with the interaction. So
we're here at Dreamforce. Tell us about the relationship with Salesforce and your impressions of the last 2 days. What are you excited about? What do you have, curiosity about?
Yeah, so this is our first Dreamforce ever. We've been growing, like I said, in industries that are outside of tech. Our marketing team, we like to say that we're trying to bring the fire of AI and the internet to the 85% of the industry that works offline. And so we've never been to Dreamforce because we've been, out there in the world. We're not trying to talk to tech people, right? So. But what started happening is we started going higher enterprise, and our customers started becoming like Home Depot and Kohler and all these type of brands. And so Dreamforce, we just started getting so many Salesforce customers naturally. And so it just made sense that this was the year that we had to come here. This is our 3rd year of growth. We've become one of the fastest growing startups of all time before getting to Dreamforce. In terms of growth rates, we're growing faster than Salesforce was growing back when we were at our stage. We're faster than Figma, faster than most of the iconic companies. We're one of the fastest growing AI companies today. And Dreamforce made sense to us now because, again, we're going after the large enterprise customers. And what's been so fun about this event, we do our own user conference where we get like 2,000 people just coming here. This is like Disney World for business, man. This is insane. My team was like, we need to go in with a bang. I don't know if you guys saw, but we brought Barry Bonds, Jerry Rice, the legends of San Francisco, the best football player of all time, the best baseball player. We had a Q&A with them. We brought B.O.B. We've just gone crazy at Salesforce, and it's just been such an amazing time.
How big is the company? Just give some stats, employee count, funding, give us some stats on the numbers.
Yeah, so we are about 100 employees now. We recently did our Series B round with Google Ventures. Bessemer did our Series A. We really never announce it. We don't really care about announcing rounds. Our customers don't really care about fun. They're like, who's Bessemer? I don't know who Bessemer is. Even though Bessemer is like one of the best funds. And so yes, we've raised a Series A, Series B, and yeah, and we're, like I said, one of the fastest growing startups of today. Certainly for Series B, we're like a...
What about healthcare and these other verticals? Because you see life sciences booming. You mentioned pharmaceuticals, medical
devices, pharmaceuticals. These are all interactions that you can actually improve dramatically and those interactions actually matter so much more than a simple like, hey, am I going to get the deal or not? Or am I going to make that customer happy? In medical device sales, it's really important for the people that are selling those devices to doctors to understand what they're selling. You talk to medical device companies and they'll tell you, if my reps get something wrong, we are dealing with people's lives here. So if I say something wrong to the doctor,
critical.
And something like as simple as like a shoe, of how to put a shoe cover, I sell a shoe cover for the doctors, and if I don't explain to that doctor how to put that shoe cover on, they might not put the shoe cover on, they might slip and they might mess something up in surgery. And so those conversations are super high stakes, and all the more reason why you want to make sure that you're keeping a certain standard of excellence in everything.
Quality goes up, sales go up, people feel good about it, and you get a highlight reel.
Yeah.
Yes, oh my God, like once you give, like what we tell companies, they ask us like, what's the main reason I want to buy Rilla in our demos? And we say like, okay, conversion rates increases. The number one reason we tell them is like, this is going to be the biggest birthday present you're going to give to your salespeople. They're absolutely going to love you. Your sales manager's going to love you. Again, we say sales is a sport. We treat salespeople like athletes. It becomes such a fun thing. And then what we saw from the customer side also, when the seller's using Rilla, we're going to be running an ad at some point next year, which is going to be like the Rilla sales rep and the non-Rilla sales rep. And the Rilla sales rep is just like your best friend, they're super friendly, and they're awesome to hang out with. And the non-Rilla sales rep is like, oh my God, I can't stop.
Sebastian, in the old days, the ride-along was dreaded.
Yes.
Because my manager,
yes.
What is he going to say? What am I going to do? Am I going to screw up? People get nervous. Now they embrace it, like the comedian example. So
my God.
Explain that phenomenon culturally.
Yeah, so like you said, if you go to our website, for the longest time, it says the end of ride-alongs. We are the end of ride-alongs because we are ushering a new era of virtual ride-alongs that are faster, better, more productive for everybody, so much more fun. What you talk about there, this effect of the physical ride-along, what you get in a physical ride-along when you're riding with your reps is you're not really seeing the reality of the situation. It's called Hawthorne's effect. When people know that they're being recorded or reviewed, you kind of feel like nervous.
You turtle up.
And so you're either seeing that salesperson in their best behavior or in their work, like you're seeing them uncomfortable. What happens with Rilla, the same thing happens when you start with Rilla. You feel a little bit uncomfortable, but then after a while, the Hawthorne effect wears off. It's kind of like exposure therapy. So you record like 5 times, you forget about it, and then you're really getting to capture the reality of how you're really selling and how you're really talking. Salespeople get surprised all the time. Like myself, I'm like, I didn't know I was talking 225 words a minute.
Yeah.
I had an idea, but
I could have estimated that. Now that I know what the benchmark is.
I have to ask you, because you said you're a stand-up comic, right?
Yes.
In these thousands or millions of transcripts that you guys review and listen to, what are the key elements for effective selling? Is it comedy? Is it humor? Is it, connection? Like, what's really critical?
We just did a study on this new metric that we figured out. We didn't know how to name it because it's like this new metric that we didn't know how to call. We called it emotional variability response rate, which is like a very ugly, one of our engineers named it because it's very techy, right? And what it describes is the ability that the top 1% of top performers have of mimicking the emotions of their customer. So in sales, we always talk about mirroring, like mirroring the language, mirroring the way you sit or something like that. But then it's about mimicking the emotions. If the customer, it's like, think about a therapist. When you're very sad with a therapist, the therapist mirrors your emotions back to you so that you feel very comfortable. Like if you're in pain, the therapist is not going to be like, ha, 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 like laughing.
You don't got for lunch?
They're going to change their tone to mimic your emotions. And so we actually can measure this with AI. You can literally, because AI is so smart nowadays, you can literally measure this. And so what we measured was that the emotional variability response of the top sellers is like 3 times higher than those of average performers. So they're able to do this 3 times as better as other people.
If we had the Rilla software for this interview, I think we'd score very well.
Yeah. I mean, we've kept the emotion at like one top beat, so we haven't changed it much. Yeah.
Sebastian, great to meet you, and congratulations on your success. Love the idea, again, right on the money, real world. We talk about this all the time, physical AI, first party kind of value with technology. That's not like an online click link, follow up landing page nonsense. It's really personal and relevant.
Yes.
And super cool.
Yeah, this is, it's really fun that we get to work with some of the most awesome businesses. We have one of Warren Buffett's companies as a Rilla customer. Some of the most awesome businesses that people typically don't talk about. So it's awesome to meet these entrepreneurs every day.
Put a plug in for what you're working on. You got the camera here, you're going to hire, you're looking for things. What are you working on?
So so if you are interested in learning more about Rilla, as a customer, go to Rilla.com. If you're interested in any of our jobs in product and engineering and design, we have one of the best engineers, one of the best designers at Rilla. Like I said, we love to build consumer games for businesses, and if you're an engineer and you're interested in real world AI that's actually driving impact, you're going to get to work with some of the most interesting data sets. Like the data that Rilla has access to is net new. It did not exist until we went out there and did this. And it's kind of like, what I tell engineers is that you are getting to build the first digital map of offline commerce. So go and check us out.
And a great TAM, you got non-profits, you got all kinds of other markets to go into. Tons of work, a lot of impact. 12
million outside sales and service people in America, 100 million around the world. That's about a $50 billion to a $100 billion industry for Rilla, and we're very, 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 very at the beginning of the journey. So,
Sebastian, thank you for coming on.
Thank you guys.
Gemma, as always, great. We're doing our part to speak as fast as possible here on theCUBE. Keeping up here at Dreamforce. I'm John Furrier with Gemma Allen. Thanks for watching. We'll be right back.